It's now time for Gabbin on Gabbard, episode 3. I have 3 items I want to go over with you about Tulsi Gabbard that are worth talking about. Okay, so item number 1. Okay, pre-debate, Joe Biden was the most Googled candidate. He probably had 40 states covered, like as the number 1 candidate pre-debate. But after the debates, Tulsi Gabbard became the most Googled candidate in all 50 states after the debates. Not 49, all 50. It was just a sea of blue on the map. I'll leave the map down below in the comments for you. Just awesome. And it's just like, why? Why would Tulsi Gabbard be the most Googled candidate after the debates? Well, her stint with Kamala Harris, for sure, was one of the highlights of the night. It definitely put her on the map to get thrown into that, that real political war between Kamala Harris and Tulsi Gabbard. It was just a highlight of the night. But here's my reasoning. Nobody is talking like Tulsi Gabbard is talking. Nobody is supporting the end of regime change wars like Tulsi Gabbard. I want you to think back over the course of these last 2 debates and point to anyone who's talking remotely close to what Tulsi Gabbard is saying. Is there anybody in the race? Before this video, I was like, who is it? There's got to be somebody talking about wasteful regime change wars and changing course on them, and I can't think of anybody. Did Bernie? It seems like if anyone would have, it would have been Bernie in my mind anyway. But I can't think of anybody. And it's such a polarizing topic. It's such a topic that has been left out of the national dialogue. It's totally left out of the political dialogue. It's never talked about on the major news channels. Independent media will cover it, but by and large, nobody talks about ending regime change wars, and no one does it quite like Tulsi Gabbard, who has made it her flagship proposal. So that's why I think she was the most Googled candidate, because nobody talks about regime change wars. Nobody. We just accepted that Afghanistan is a forever war, Iraq is a forever war, Syria will be a forever war. We just accepted this as stasis. It's just a status quo to passively accept these endless regime change wars. But when you think about it, when you process what Tulsi Gabbard is saying about it, it makes complete sense that we need to end these wars and we need to direct our paths elsewhere and spend the trillions of dollars we're spending there back home here. So it just resonates. No one else is doing that. It really makes her stand out. And that's why I think she's the most Googled. She's also a very lovely woman. She's probably the most loveliest candidate in the race. I would say that. That's fair, right? I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, I don't know. My guy brain was kicking in there. Sorry. Okay, moving on. So Kamala Harris sat down with Anderson Cooper after the debates were over, right after. I'll leave that video down in the description, but I want to go over what Kamala said to Anderson Cooper. Kamala said, quote, "This is going to sound immodest, but I'm a top-tier candidate. And so I did expect that I would take hits tonight, and especially from people who are polling at 1% or whatever she might be polling at." You know something? I'm going to stop right there for a minute. Tulsi Gabbard was routinely left out of polls. If anyone's been following polls for the past 6 to 8 months, I would say Tulsi Gabbard has been left out of anywhere between, if I had to say out of every 10 polls, she was left out of maybe 4 or 5 polls out of 10. That's anecdotal for me, so that's just what I've come across. I certainly hope it's not that bad, but I have a feeling it is. So imagine if Tulsi was included in most polls. She would not be polling at 1%. And it's just registered as a low blow because that Kamala Harris can say that and most people aren't going to know the context. So that's bothersome. That's politically advantageous. It's completely dishonest and disingenuous. But that's politics. That's dirty politics. This is dirty establishment politics that Kamala Harris is playing. And if you think Tulsi Gabbard was dirty for just reading her record, get a grip. Tulsi Gabbard did not have any smear tactics, any dirty political tricks up her sleeves. Tulsi Gabbard stated the facts of Kamala Harris's atrocious record as Attorney General in California. That's all she did. And it has Kamala triggered. Okay, but Kamala goes on here. But this coming from someone who has been an apologist for Assad, a man who has murdered people of his country. She who has embraced him and has been an apologist in a way for him that she refuses to call him a war criminal. I can only take her and her opinion so seriously. End quote. Okay, just these are more smears. These are just more dirty politics, more disingenuous framing of Tulsi Gabbard here via Kamala Harris. Once again, just dirty, just plain dirty. And here's the thing. Tulsi Gabbard also sat down with Anderson Cooper after the debates, right after, and they had a back and forth, and Anderson Cooper said this to Tulsi: Assad is a torturer and a murderer. Do you not agree with that? And Tulsi said, without missing a step, quote, I don't dispute that. I don't dispute that. She just put it to bed in a span of 4 words. I don't dispute that. I'm sure Kamala Harris will conveniently ignore that and run with the smears because she's a dishonest person. She's an establishment politician who only cares about winning. She's purely Machiavellian in nature. She takes cues and hints from the Hillary Clinton playbook. So I expect the worst from Kamala Harris. So she'll completely ignore that Tulsi Gabbard just confirmed that she doesn't dispute that Assad is a torturer and a murderer. It will be ignored. Convenient. All right. Enough of that. Moving on. Last item here. Tulsi has currently 110,000 individual unique donors. She needs 130 individual unique donors. The deadline is August 28th, later this month. We need to get her 20,000 new donors. So I'm going to leave a link down below. It can be as little as $1. Please donate to Tulsi Gabbard. $1. That's all you got to do. You don't have to go nuts here. Share with your friends. Share with your coworkers. Share with everybody on social media. Let's get this woman secured for the fall debates. So, awesome. Awesome, awesome. All right, so that'll wrap up Gabbin on Gabbard episode 3. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe, click the bell, and leave a comment down below.